On September the 17th every year, the Church honors one of the greatest teachers of the faith, Saint Robert Bellarmine. He happened to live in a time of confusion in the Christian world and had to deal with problems that arose during the Protestant Reformation. He was the spiritual father of St. Aloysius Gonzaga. Both are now entombed in Rome's St. Ignatius Church. Fellow Jesuit, Father Mitch Pacwa, says he admires St. Robert Bellarmine's ability to learn and explains that Bellarmine's knowledge was one of the reasons he was proclaimed a doctor of the Church.
Knowing a lot does not make one a saint. But the way he used his magnificent intellectual capacity is what made him a saint. The doctors of the Church are able to offer us solid doctrine, and that's exactly what he did. He had studied philosophy and theology. He knew the biblical languages. He brought all of that together in his answers to the different Protestants. So he wrote a catechism that explained the faith clearly and in a well-organized way. Secondly, he also wrote Disputationes. This is a book that dealt with all the various topics mentioned by the various and he would respond to them in orderly ways using scripture first, and then the fathers of the church and the church tradition, and showing where they had made mistakes. In his disputation with King James, a book was written by the royal theologian, a book written against Robert Bellarmine. This book was called the Patriarcha, and it defended the divine right of kings against Robert Bellarmine's books. What's important is that Filmer, who was the author of this book, was refuting Bellarmine, but he had to cite Bellarmine's writings, correct? Well, what's interesting is that the book Patriarcha was in the library of Thomas Jefferson, who later on wrote the Declaration of Independence and became president of the United States. That idea that government belongs to the people and is given to the people by God is Robert Bellarmine's idea. And as we deal with some of the same issues with various Protestant communities that we once had, we can learn from his answers and charitable approach. But we can also then apply that to the various issues of the modern time. We have new atheism and disagreement with the existence of God, misunderstanding of the state being the center of rights and the source of human rights, and that this has been a devastating problem in the 20th century where 305 million people were killed in wars or by their own governments who believed that the state had all the rights, and they didn't. We can learn that and apply that to our own times today, and do so with the same love of Christ, love of the church, and love of our opponents, as Robert Bellarmine did. And that is an example that we very much need this day.